Welcome everybody. This is a video to show you how to gain access to the University of Iowa's virtual desktop, the mechanism by which you can access statistical software like SAS and Stata for free. So I am starting from our course webpage, and on this course webpage I've linked to a handout I've created, getting started with the virtual desktop. So I have this handout right here, and this is what we're going to follow today. So step one, for those of you who are new to campus, you may not have done this yet, is to download and install the university's VPN, Virtual Private Network. The address to do so is right here. I've opened the page already for you. I have done this already, so I don't need to, but if you have not done so, please follow the instructions on this page, pause the video, and do this before continuing to download and install the program. Once you have done so, you will be able to then log into the virtual private network. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that step right now. Here is what the program looks like. Let me get the little window over here. So it says it's ready to connect. The address that you'll need to type in the first time is vpn.uiowa.edu. I'm going to go ahead and hit connect. And it wants your Hawk ID, so no extensions or anything before it, just that combination of your first and last names that you were assigned when you got your university system. It wants your password that you use for everything Iowa, so hopefully I will type it correctly. And second password refers to two-factor authentication. This is something that you should have already set up to be able to access various university websites. So that will need to have been done already. The method that I would recommend for this is to go ahead and type SMS, the letters SMS into second password. What that does is request that a text message be sent to your phone with various numeric codes that you can use to log in. So note that it says that login failed. It did not. I now have a text message that has a numeric code that I can enter into the second passwords box. So I'm going to go ahead and retype my password, look at my phone, and find one of the new sets of numbers. And type that there. And now you can see that it has taken hold. That program is simply running in the background. So step one is completed. Next is step two. This step is optional, but I recommend it as folks who have very, shall I say, deep file structures. It can be annoying to try and find exactly where you've saved everything, and so the H drive can be an easy place to access instead. So if you haven't already done so, you'll need to map the H drive to your computer. This is a server address that you can keep things. It's nice because when you're on campus, you can work at different places and still have access to your files through this H drive. The same is true for any device that you've mapped the H drive to at home. So to do so, there's a web page that you can follow the instructions. The instructions are a little bit tricky because of a few different permutations that I wanted to show you. I have not done this yet on my machine, so I'm going to do so now. So I have a Windows device, so I'm going to go over to this PC as instructed, go to Computer, and map Network Drive. A window will pop up that looks like this, and it wants you to type in this address. I'll go ahead and select the H drive as the drive for the letter, replacing Hawk ID with your own Hawk ID. So I'm going to type that. I'm going to tell it to reconnect its sign-in so that I may not have to map it again. I have had folks tell me that this doesn't work and that they've had to remap it before, so just so that you're aware that that's a potential complication. I'm going to hit connect using different credentials as well, because otherwise it may get confused as to the password and username that I use to sign on to my local device versus the password and username that it would need to sign on to the H drive. So now I'm going to hit finish. Note that it has leshoffman@uiowa.edu as the address that it's supposed to be. I'm going to go ahead and type in my University of Iowa password, hope that it remembers my credentials, and it appears to have worked. So now under my this PC app, in addition to a local C drive, I have this server address that I now can access just as if it were on my own computer. So these are the things that are already installed on that H drive. Their default folders and whatnot. So I'm going to make, actually I'll just use this one. A lot of folks last semester ended up doing this. So yes, I've already downloaded the example into this folder. So let me show you what this would look like if I hadn't done so already. All right. Yes, thank you. So we are going to now go to the course website and download the files for example 1. So I have them linked here. I have them linked down here next to the lecture that uses them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it defaults to some of my recent places. I'm going to go into the H drive, into my SAS files, and save the example. So it'll take a minute. And there it is. Note that it is stored inside a compressed folder, a .zip extension. So you will need to, I promise I will not harm my computer, thank you. You will need to extract. So I am right clicking on the icon, hitting extract all, and then a window is going to pop up and ask me where would you like to store them. So I will go ahead and store them in just the My SAS Files directory. Extract. I'm not sure what the steps are to do this part on Mac, but you would need to look for an option to extract the files. Otherwise, you won't be able to use them to read and write to them, I believe. Unless it's different on Mac. I could tell you, I'm not entirely sure. All right, so now here is the folder. It has all of the downloaded files. So there are 4 files that are specific to the programs. So there's an output file and a syntax file for each of SAS and Stata. Output is what it's called, the window where the information that you're requesting shows up, and syntax is the typing that you do to give commands to the software. The data that we're going to use for the example is in an Excel document right here. You can open that up and take a look at it if you want. And this is just a plot that I made in Stata and saved as part of the demonstration. Okay, so we've got the folder, we've got it extracted. Let's continue on. Now we are able to actually try to get to the virtual desktop. So we'll go to that website. It warns you that your VPN needs to be active. And if you've done this before, it will know who you are. So this is another step where if you have not yet installed the virtual machine, you will need to do so. And once you've done so and logged in successfully, it will retain your information. So I'll go ahead and log on. Maximize this window so that you can see. It defaults to a favorites page, but if you go over to apps, you can see all of the various apps that are available inside this service, including SAS and including Stata. So we're going to use either SAS, the 64-bit regular program here, or Stata, which is version 16. And that's where the video will pick up from here.